Well, hello everybody, welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we're going to do an update about driving. How things have been in regards to driving. So I'm currently here waiting outside my mom's doctor's appointment, and I already made a mistake today. Well, I don't know if you can see the white car next to me, but I don't want to make it obvious, but I was pulling up and these parking spots are so weird. Like, it's like, you know, where there's like two parking spots and they just don't seem right. So I just kind of did what the car next to me did, was just over in the next one. Because realistically, this is so confusing. Like, this ain't this, like what's going on in this parking spot? So I kind of just parked it close next to this Civic, and I almost freaking hit it trying to pull in the spot. Got really close to it. But yeah, thankfully I didn't hit it. Thankfully I didn't. But yeah, pretty chaotic. And there's this person that's in I think it's an Infiniti or a Lexus. I don't know which one it is, probably an Infiniti. They're just sitting there, car on, probably thinking I'm some kind of terrible driver, almost getting into a wreck in a freaking parking lot. But you know, lesson learned. Nobody got hit. That's all that matters. But yeah, sometimes we all make mistakes. Now, if you can't tell, I kind of sound sick. Well, that's because I am sick. Not mentally, of course, but health-wise. So the reason why I'm sick is because, for one, I have had COVID. I got COVID about 2 weeks ago. I was sick with COVID, and then I felt better the following later on, and you know, recovering from it. Then now I get a cold, or so I think it's a cold. Might be post-COVID conditions. I don't really know. So after that, I'm like, man, now I got COVID. Now I'm sick again. Coughing all over the place. Runny nose, all that. But anyway, so I'm going to give you guys an update on driving, because I haven't really actually made a video about it yet, but today we're going to talk about it. Okay, so going on into driving. So I've been doing pretty good, you know, making the same rookie mistakes everybody makes, but had some crazy things happen to me in regards to other drivers. First of all, this one night of my mom's birthday, and we were coming home from a restaurant one night on this road, and I was going 45 in a 40. Well, then the light suddenly turned yellow. So I had to slam on the brakes and just barely went past the line. Then person behind me was in a white, I think it was a Hyundai Tucson, an older one, I don't know. Maybe it was a Santa Fe, I don't know. It was some kind of, probably a Tucson, I don't know. But they pulled up behind me, and and you know, they kept pulling up behind me, and at one point I didn't realize, but my foot wasn't on the gas pedal all the way, and I was going about 30 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone, so I picked it back up. Well, then as I go to turn to go into a protected right turn, they pull up beside me and they honk at me. So I'm trying to honk the horn back, because I'm like, what are you honking at me for? I mean, you know, are you mad because I'm driving too slow? Or are you mad that I slowed down at that point? I mean, seriously. I didn't come in your lane, so why the freak are you honking at me? There's no reason for it. You know? I mean, you can't be an aggressive driver. You're being an aggressive driver. See, there just goes the car that just witnessed me almost get into a crash. It was Infiniti. Great. Good thing they're not here, because they'd be like, hey, that person almost hit your car. Well, guess what? It's fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's good. It's all, no one's hurt. It's all that matters. No accident. Man, I tell you, in the state I live in, people are just freaking whack in regards to driving. Because people they gotta tailgate you. They cut you off. I mean, seriously. And I mean, kind of in a way, it does make you a better driver. All right, so going back to, so yeah, I mean, honking at me like that, I mean, seriously, you're gonna honk at me. And it was some Karen, you know? I mean, you don't do that, because I could have pulled up right behind them and, you know, put my high beams on, or I could have rolled down the window and flipped them off. You know, there's all kinds of things I could have done aggressively that I didn't do. So that's why I do not rage honk at people. Honk at people if you need to. You do not honk at people, because guess what? These windows on your car, they're not shatterproof. They will break if someone beats the heck out of them. You don't want that. So, yeah. So do not honk at people unless you need to. Now, of course, back when I was a cyclist, I would always do that, but still, I mean, you shouldn't honk at people unless you need to, because that's how you're going to end up getting hurt. But yeah, let's go on to incident number 2. All right, incident number 2. So I was driving, I think a couple days ago, and driving home, of course, and these people were behind me, tailgating me. So the speed limit went from 40 to maybe 35 to 40. I don't know, one of the two. But it went down to 30. So I had to slow down. Well, as I was slowing down, I was going 10 over the limit. And the car behind me was tailgating me. So I put on my brakes, and they were right up on me. I'm like, and I said, you better slow down or we're going to have a problem. That's what I said. I said, you better slow down or we're going to have a problem. So that's why I went and said, you better slow down or we're going to have a problem. So they came close to rear-ending me. They actually came close, because they were tailing me so hard. I was for certain they were going to hit me. But yeah, and then I had to turn, and then they had to turn, and it's like, seriously, people. Yeah. Do not tailgate me. Now, I got to drive on the highway first time a couple days ago. I got to drive on the highway, you know, because I did it. And I knew you gotta go. You cannot just dilly-dally. You gotta go. You gotta go. Because otherwise you're going to cause a bit of a gridlock for people, and that's not what I did. So I went on the highway, and I made it, and that's all she wrote. But yeah, I mean, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that you got to be aware of as a driver. You know, you got to be careful of idiots out there. But yeah, I mean, then I think this other night I was driving and I had to get over, and I wasn't on the highway. I was on the multi-lane road, double lane road, and I was turning left, and this car, thankfully it slowed down, let me over, put on my hazards to say thank you. That's what truckers do. Yeah. So that's always a good thing. Now, I do make mistakes a lot. Like sometimes like one time we were pulling the parking lot, my brother was in the back seat not wearing a seatbelt, and I went and I hit the brake and slammed the brake because I was coming in too hot, and you know, that's what happened. But then the second time I was able to be all right. You know, the thing with me is just that it's just trying to remember to not do it, because I'm trying to make a habit of not doing it. You know, not braking hard or slamming on the gas or whatever, or jerking the wheel or whatever. You know, I'm trying to break those habits and make the new habits, sorry for spitting, and make the new habits, need to lock the door. Man, I thought the doors were already locked. You don't need people coming in here. I mean, we're in the nicer part of town, but not so much in the nicer part of town. You know what I mean? I mean, what you don't want to be is in the south. Ugh, that's where you gotta make sure that your windows up and doors locked. Yeah. But yeah, so like what I was saying about driving and all that. I mean, you know, I'm trying to make it a habit, like trying to not do the bad habits. But, you know, sometimes when I'm in that moment, if I don't know where I'm going, I sometimes get a little bit, you know, because the thing about it is, I mean, I need clear directions. So yeah, so let's talk about the futuristic of driving. So I've been thinking about so I was thinking about what I want to do with myself. So here's the plan. I get my driver's license, I become a tow truck driver, and to do that, I'm going to need to actually work out in the process, because, you know, those chains are heavy, and, you know, become a tow truck driver. You know, a lot of people think, oh, you're being a tow truck driver, oh, you're going to get attacked and whatnot. Depends on what type of field you go into. Like there's tow trucks that go out, they tow people that are broke down and stuff like that. But people that do like the impounds and all that, that's not the work cut out for me. I don't want to do those type of jobs, because I will most certainly, you know, get injured or worse. Now, of course, I do want to be like the heavy truck tow trucker. So I'd have to go and first I'd have to get my CDL Class B, then get my CDL Class A, then bada bing, bada boom. The problem with getting your CDL Class A is that you got to drive a tractor trailer around the country, and that's going to really suck, because you got to do these loads and all this typical truck driver nonsense, truck driver stuff. It ain't going to be easy, but that's the plan. I've also thought about like being like a train driver, like a train engineer, train driver, train engineer. I don't know what the official title is. You know, basically like being a train person, or even working on the trains. I'd have to go in for welding. I mean, there's a lot of things I'd have to do to, you know, and I'm going to kind of pursue all of them in case one doesn't work out. I have a plan B. But, you know, yeah, I mean, trying to do the best that I can here, but it's not really going all that, you know. I'm just really trying to get my life into order, because, you know, my mom and I are, you know, looking to settle somewhere, and I was in a place where she wants to settle is kind of in a cold climate. But here's the thing about that. The thing about it is that I was thinking about getting a subcompact car, like, or even a compact car, like the Civic next to me. I might get a Honda Civic. I mean, I'm not a fan of the older Honda Civics because of the windshield wipers, because I don't know if they'd actually be all that effective in heavy rain. I don't know. Honda Civic people, if you guys think otherwise. But I mean, even getting a Honda Civic would be good for me. Even getting any car, any sedan would be good for me, realistically. Because, you know, I need something that's cheap on gas, something that's small. You know, I don't need a big, large vehicle like I did. I don't need a big, large vehicle. But if we end up living somewhere where the climates are colder, I'm going to have to get either a Jeep or a truck. And I've been thinking about that because I'm thinking, well, you know, if I have to, because here's the thing. I'm not getting a Ram 1500. That's the last option. Because I know with Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Ford F-1, I mean the American vehicles, and I do have to agree with some people, the American vehicles do have the tendency to be a little more unreliable in that, in the manner of speaking. And I mean, I do kind of have to agree with that. I mean, you know, driving a F1, because here's the thing. I was thinking about getting a Toyota Tundra. Like, you know, a Toyota Tundra. Because that probably would be more reliable than the other trucks. But yet again, you know, maybe the F-150 would be the best choice. I mean, the F-150 is a really, really nice truck. I mean, I've been inside an F-150 before. I actually was at a car show, and I sat in the driver's seat in the F-150. And the F-150 is about as wide as a U-Haul truck. I mean, those things are freaking wide. So you certainly would have to know how to drive a larger vehicle to actually drive an F-150. But then I was thinking, well, maybe, what if I wanted to haul more passengers around? Maybe I can get a Ford Expedition. Hopefully that has four-wheel drive. If not, then we're screwed. I mean, maybe I might get a Ford Expedition or something, you know? I mean, there's all kinds of options out there. Because, you know, now, this car right here, I don't think this is front-wheel drive. I think this is rear-wheel drive. Because when you accelerate, you can feel the back of the car spinning, which means it's rear-wheel drive, which is not good for snow. Now, my mom was talking about getting another Tiguan that's newer, and hopefully she can get the one that has front-wheel drive. That way there's better traction on icy roads. But in this, you really don't get very good traction in this on icy roads. And even Andrew's car, even Andrew's Mini, gets better traction than this car does. And his car is just a Mini. His car would make the cut. Make the cut! Okay, well, going back on to cars. I mean, yeah, so if we aren't moving to a colder climate, you know, I was just gonna get a Hyundai Accent because here's the thing. I don't need a super big vehicle. All I need is space to put crap in the trunk, maybe haul around a couple passengers, and that's all I need. I don't need anything other than that. And, I don't need anything other than that. The only issue is with these subcompact cars is that they're incredibly small on the inside, but, it is what it is. I mean, but, because when we were in the island, there's somebody riding a scooter in the middle of the freaking road. What the actual? And that's another thing too, guys. You got to really watch out for these cyclists. There are cyclists everywhere. You got to be careful. Seriously, you got to be careful. That's the thing I need to remember is I got to be careful of them cyclists. You know, because they will freaking, it will not be good. But yeah, I mean, guys, here's the thing about riding a bike on the road. Just stay off to the right and use the sidewalk if you can. It's a safer option. You got to really watch it because there's people that will just come right out in front of you on these bikes. It's pretty bad. So anyway, yeah, so I was thinking about getting like a Hyundai Accent, like an older Hyundai Accent, not the newer ones. Maybe the newer Hyundai Accents, but like the older ones. Because when I was in the Virgin Islands, that car was pretty good. I mean, it's not good for the island because it was all bumpy and, you know, all that stuff, but it was a pretty decent car. Now, the Nissan Versa, I don't think I want to get because the headrests are about, you can't adjust the headrests. So if you got some of these big, you know, won't be so good for them. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, there's all kinds of options out there you can get. Now, my brother, on the other hand, he needs himself a minivan. He needs himself a, what is it? What is it? He needs himself that, a Dodge Grand Caravan. He needs to get himself a minivan, which personally, I think he should get the Chrysler Town & Country, the older one, or get a Pacifica. Because the thing with these Dodges and Jeeps and all this stuff, they just aren't that reliable. I mean, there's people that have had Jeeps, but from my experience with American cars, they just do not do all that great. They end up, you know, breaking down every 2 seconds. Yeah, hold up, guys. I don't know if you can see that car, but do you see that car? I think that was a type of car that beeped at me. I don't know what that is. And so here's my plan for content for driving. The thing about it is, in regards to driving, is I want to get a dash camera up in the front and in the back, so that way in the event that something were to happen, I'd catch it on camera and then do what I normally do, make these rewind videos and talk about it. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do instead. It's probably, see guys, you guys have got to really watch these cyclists. I mean, look at these guys. They aren't wearing helmets. They don't even know what's going on. Hey, look, there's a train. Look at that. Look. Oop. Don't want to show any license plates. Look. Oh, the cyclist just went right behind me. Careful, dude. Careful. Last thing you need to get hit by a car. Up the train's. See, you gotta really watch these cyclists, man. Listen, there's a train. Oh, look, the train is going the opposite way. You can hear the horn. So yeah, you know, I don't want to show any license plates because I don't want people to know where I'm living at, because they will actually then be like, oh my God, they live here? Oh, yeah, no. Because, you know, we got to kind of keep it a secret. But yeah, I don't think that license plate even represents the state I'm even in anyway. No, I don't think it does. But yeah, gotta make sure the doors are locked, make sure nobody comes in and gets us. Got the keys, right? All right, yeah. So yeah, so you just really gotta, you know what you're doing when driving. You gotta, like, really be careful of these cyclists. I mean, I can't express that enough. I've almost been hit by cars riding a bike. And me now driving, it's kind of like being sacrilegious, because, you know, now I'm driving and now I'm just as bad as everybody else now. But here's the thing, you really got to watch these cyclists, man. You really got to check the mirrors. You just got to do everything. These cyclists, they will sneak up behind you. And these people, I mean, as you know, they just run up, they just run up behind you. I mean, you really got to be careful with these people, because if you hit them, you are going to be in big trouble. And I've almost been hit by cars. There are a couple times I've pulled out in front of cars a couple times and almost gotten hit. But, you know, you have to understand something. Driving, you really got to be very careful. You just really got to be very, 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 very careful at all times. You have to be careful, because then next thing you know, you'll end up getting wrecked. And then now there's an accident. And then now you got more stuff going on. And then that just ends up becoming your issue too. You know what I mean? So, like what I'm saying, guys, I mean, you guys got to be careful out there. You got to watch cyclists. You got to make sure you don't hit anybody. And even with this rear backup camera, one time I was reversing, right? This guy in a truck, he was parked next to me at a gas station. Not going to say what the gas station is, because people are like, oh my God, they live there? Because really, the gas station that I'm talking about ain't everywhere in the world. All right. So going back to what I was saying about about driving, about the gas station. Hey, look, there's someone with the Dodge Charger next to me, or Avenger, whatever that is. Oh no, nope, that's a Cobalt. First car I ever drove was a Cobalt. It was the most crappiest car you could ever drive. Seriously, it was the most crappiest car and the most ugliest car ever. But the person that owned it flooded it, so yeah. And like I said, I mean, even that would be good. But the thing is, it's kind of ugly on the front. It's kind of ugly. With the Hyundai accents, they kind of look a little bit more attractive looking instead of looking totally ugly. But yeah. Anyway, going back to what I was saying about driving, about this guy. So he was parked next to me at the gas station. He backs his truck up. He drives around the entire gas station. And as I'm pulling up, I have my windows down. My brother's sitting in the back. And I hear beep, beep. And I'm like, what the heck? And there was a red truck coming up behind me. I'm like, really? Really? You couldn't have just waited? Here's the thing, guys. If someone's backing up, just be patient and wait. I mean, seriously, just be patient and wait. Because, I mean, thankfully I had the windows down, because I probably wouldn't have heard the horn. Because this car has insulated interior, so you wouldn't actually really hear it. And I was looking in the backup camera, I did not see him. So that's why now when I back up, I look, I check, I do my shoulder check, make sure there's nobody this way. And that's the way I do it. And that's kind of what my some of my family members said. I'm not going to mention who he is because of his career. But he said, hey guys, make sure you check your shoulder, because someone could come up and they're like, yeah, well, me and Daddy were coming along and somebody was in our blind spot. He's like, yeah, make sure that you check your blind spots. Check your blind spots. Yeah. And, because he does have some truth to that, because you do gotta check them. Even though this car has blind spot detection, it doesn't always work. I don't even pay attention to it. I'm just so focused on everything else, I don't even have time to pay attention. But yeah, I mean, it's good that this car has blind spot detection, but it doesn't always work. I mean, you can pretty much see around the blind spots. The only blind spot you have is my mirror isn't all that adjusted. Like, I can't actually, like, I kind of have to, like, lean my head in a little bit to actually look in the mirror to see if there's anybody coming. But, I mean, like, if I turn like this, you can't see if there's anybody there. But if I look in my rear, you can definitely see. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but, there's ways around it. But, it's going to be worse when driving a truck. That's going to be worse. Driving some straight box truck, especially a semi truck, that's going to be bad. Anyway, but yeah, I just want to give you guys an update. I want to stop talking because I am, you know, like I said, I'm sick. I'm going to rest my voice. And hopefully mom will come out soon and I'll be able to, you know, get to work when driving. Which, you know, I'm pretty much driving more and more lately. You know, my mom pretty much is now relinquishing her driving because, you know, she's getting older and she just doesn't want to do it anymore. So that's that. But anyway, yep. So that's that. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.